morning, good morning, good morning. I am so thrilled to be before you once again on this day. Remember, if this video speaks to you in any kind of way, feel free to like, comment, and share. This is Empowerment365 with Jamarr Williams. I am your host, Jamarr, with two R's Williams, and I am so glad to be able to bring you your daily dose of motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. Without further ado, let's get started. Today is Friday, October 23rd, 2020, and today's quote is, "Do not expire before you inspire." I'll say that once again. Do not expire before you inspire. Let's say that together once again with authority and conviction. Do not expire before you inspire. Now, today's quote was influenced by the great motivational speaker himself, Les Brown. Thank you so much, Les Brown, for sharing on your page. There are a few points I want to be able to talk about on today as far as that quote is concerned. First and foremost, the responsibility. Remember when I talked about greatness, how I talked about empowerment being a seed? Well, each of us come with a level of greatness on the inside of us. We have a great vast amount of wisdom, knowledge, hope, experience, courage, and love that is on the inside of us. And guess what? It is our responsibility and our duty to make an impact, to plant that seed, to share that greatness with the rest of the world. As a matter of fact, remember when I talked about greatness? Remember when I talked about that level of empowerment, how there is a person out there, a generation of people, maybe a community of people, maybe out there waiting to be impacted by you, your greatness. Someone is waiting on you to show up and tell them, hey, everything is going to be all right. We're going to survive this. We're going to get through this. We're going to be better and we're going to be greater than our yesterday. Someone is waiting on your greatness to be a part of the greater tomorrow. So we have a responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. The second point I want to be able to make is the significance of the dash. DASH. Now, the dash is a poem. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It is a poem written by Linda Ellis. In this poem, Linda Ellis describes the beauty of the moment and explains the significance of making every moment in our lifetimes count. Let me illustrate that even further. Each of us come with what is known as a what? A birth date and a death date. That point in time where we are called into this world or we are granted access into this world, given birth into this world, and that eventual moment in time where that lifetime comes to an end. Allow me to illustrate this even further with some name figures. Martin Luther King Jr., 1929 1968. Nelson Mandela, 1918 2013. The late, great Kobe Bryant, if we were to make it relevant to this year, the late, great Kobe Bryant, 1978 2020. The late, great Chadwick Boseman, 1976 2020. The late, great legend himself, Representative John Lewis, 1940 2020. Guess what? These guys, just like us, have a birth date, and just like us, will or did have a death date. Guess what? Throughout their lifetime, even though some of these death dates were unexpected, Kobe Bryant, definitely unexpected. Martin Luther King, unexpected. But guess what? They became clear of what their purpose was, of what their gifts was. And guess what? They used that empowerment. They used that greatness to make an impact, to make every moment that they had the chance to make it count. Martin Luther King Jr., he had such a great impact in the 39 short years that he was on this earth. We now have a national holiday here in the United States named after him. Kobe Bryant, even though he was taken away from us in such a short time, guess what? His legacy lives on the NBA court and off of the court as well. Guess what? Just like these great individuals, you are great as well. We have a dash that we are still living, meaning we still have opportunity after opportunity to make an impact and to serve a purpose. The significance of the dash. Third point and final point I want to be able to talk about. Let's talk about the salmon life cycle. You know that fish that is hatched in the water. They make the trip to the ocean, live most of their adult life in the ocean. Well, guess what? Let's talk about the salmon real quick. The salmon, most salmon species will live anywhere from 2 to 7 years on average. Very short lifetime, right? All right. What happens with the salmon? They hatch in fresh water. After about a year in that fresh water, they matriculate from that fresh water to the ocean. They spend most of their adult life in the ocean. Anywhere from about 2 to 6 years, instinctively, what happens? The salmon now has to prepare and make that trip back home. Why is the salmon making that trip back home? It is to serve one purpose, and that is what? Of course, to lay its eggs for the female, and of course, for the male to fertilize the eggs. And now, guess what? Before the salmon dies, they do what? They serve a purpose to pass on their genetic code or to pass on the salmon life cycle, right? To the next generation of salmon, right? Here's the thing. This is the point I really want to drive home. That salmon, the salmon, even though they have to make that very demanding and that very dangerous, that very challenging trip home, as a matter of fact, most of the salmon won't even make it back to that place where they were hatched in that fresh water to lay their eggs. There are predators along the way. There are numerous challenges along the way. It is very demanding. Guess what? Most of those salmon won't make it home, but instinctively, the salmon, they are not thinking about the obstacles. They're not thinking about the challenges. They are not thinking about how demanding and how dangerous it may be. The only thing that they are thinking about is what? I have to serve a purpose before this lifetime is over with. So guess what? They make that demanding trip upstream, and guess what? They fulfill that purpose by laying their eggs, and then what? They die, right? Here's the thing. We all have purpose. Along the way, in order to fulfill that purpose, we're going to embark upon challenges. It's going to get extremely demanding. It may get dangerous at times. For Martin Luther King, you better believe it probably was pretty dangerous. Every time he did a speech, he could have been assassinated at any time. But guess what? He was still made aware of what his purpose was, and he fulfilled that purpose. He fulfilled that purpose. We need to be able to go throughout our lives not being afraid to fulfill our purpose, not being afraid to release our greatness and make the impact. So I leave us with this charge on today. Let's begin. If you have not already, take your greatness, take your empowerment. Let's begin to inspire today. Let's begin to impart today. Let's begin to impact today. Today, let's begin the process of releasing that greatness to the rest of the world. Remember, do not aspire before you inspire. This has been Empowerment 365 with Jamarr Williams. I am your host, Jamarr, with 2 R's, signing off.